Peace. This is James, CEO and founder of Pan African Designs, and today I want to talk about the brand and give a little background on why we chose the name Pan African Designs. So the title of this is Why Pan African Designs, and what's the significance of the naming and why how does it tie into what we're trying to do as a brand. Um, I want to first start off by saying a little bit about myself and why I named the company Pan African Designs. This brand was not something that I created to basically to try to be a clothing designer or anything like that. The brand was basically formed and created for economic purposes to fund the Pan African movement. Um, that is the main purpose of why the naming is such, and as well as actually the ideology and history that goes along with it. And I want to talk about that and my significance in the Pan African movement of today, as opposed to 1920 when Marcus Garvey made it as prominent as it is today. The movement actually starts before Marcus Garvey, but he is seen as the founder or the one who really spearheaded and got the movement on a global setting. So we credit our great ancestor Marcus Garvey for his contribution to the Pan African movement. But as an African of today, some kind of way, I was afforded the opportunity to be able to have understanding that this movement definitely needs to be revitalized and kind of like upgraded or updated to some of the information that we have now to try to unify us as a people on a global scale. That's what Pan African. That's what the logo is about, which is the Heru Falcon. That falcon actually is a unifying symbol that can take us back to the beginning of our royal state as a people. The Pan African colors actually is a new, very recent adaptation to what our struggle is. So by me tying the history together, which has actually been stolen, forgotten, hidden, or whatever you want to call it, with the actual Pan African movement, which we remember, which is basically an African first movement. I think that would be, I thought and I know that is going to be a great catalyst for us moving forward as a unified people all across the globe. Um, what I actually want to do is to take out the demonization of the Pan Africanism. What does it mean? Definitely into actually showing documentation here. That's what we're going to be about, a more serious balance to what's going on with the Pan-African movement of today. So I'm going to share my screen very fast and I don't want, it's going to be a little bit of extensive reading, but I definitely don't want to make this video long, and I definitely want to keep on task. So give me a second. I'm going to just read kind of like with documentation what the actual brand was formulated on and what it's about. Hold on. Okay, let me switch my screen so I can get a better view. Getting old. Okay, so this is Wikipedia, of course, and we have Britannica. You can look this up in any form that you like if you don't believe in Wikipedia, but for expedient sake, this is what I pulled up. So this says Pan-Africanism is a world intellectual movement that aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity between all people of African descent, based on a common fate going back to the transatlantic slave trade. The movement extends beyond continental Africans with a substantial support base amongst the African diaspora in the Caribbean, Latin America, and the United States. It is based on the belief that unity is vital to economic, social, and political progress and aims to unify and uplift people of African descent. The ideology asserts that the fate of all African people and countries are intertwined. And its core, Pan Africanism is a belief that African people, both on the continent and the diaspora, share not merely a common history, but a common destiny. Okay, so that's pretty much, I could stop there, but I'm going to go ahead. I think I will. No, let me go ahead and read this last paragraph, and I may come back to this later on because there's other stuff that I could go over for as history, concepts, and so forth. Pan-African colors. So this is basically, I'm not going to read all this, but this is where you can go and you can read the rest of this, everybody. Just go to Wikipedia and type in Pan-Africanism, and then you guys can finish it off. But I'm going to move on to why, as you can see here, the Pan-African colors. That's the flag of our ancestors, and that represents the red represents the blood of our people, the black represents the people, and the green represents the land. So this represents red for the blood, black for the people, and green for the land. Okay, so that's simple to remember, and that is what we based our particular ideology on, which will unify us, because at that particular time in 1920, we had no flag. And we really still hadn't really gathered our history at that time. So basically what I want to do is to show that, and then I'm not going to even close it out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into what I actually researched to probably show y'all, to show everyone the significance of the Falcon and why did I choose the Falcon as to put on there. And I can also go into why you see the Falcon on the United States presidential seal or his flag, or the Russian president's flag, or the Mexican flag, or the German flag, and so forth and so on. So this is Heru. For argument's sake, I would like to interject that his real name is Heru, but this is the Greek name. So this is how they pretty much kind of confuse us historically as to what's going on. But let me read this real fast. It says the Horus name. Okay, let me go back up. It says the ancient Egyptian royal tutelary. It says the royal tutelary or royal protocol is the standard naming convention taken by the pharaohs, or what we call the Nasut Bitis, or the Nasut, or ancient Egyptians. It symbolizes worldly power and holy might, and also acts as a sort of missionary statement for the reign of a monarch. Sometimes it even changes during the reign. A full tutelary consisting of 5 names did not come into standard usage until the Middle Kingdom. Now, gotta stop here. You gotta understand, for those that have not researched this history, but I'm going to simplify this very fast. When they say middle, that don't mean the beginning, okay? It says, but what they mean by that, the full tutelary consisting of 5 names did not come into standard uses until the Middle Kingdom. So that means the middle, not the beginning. So they wasn't using 5 names in the beginning is what I'm trying to convey. Now, some people don't know what I'm talking about, the 5 names, but later on, around the Middle Kingdom is what they're saying. People had 5 names once they become the Nasut Biti, or once they become the Nasut, or once they become the Pharaoh, once they become the king, once they become the president. I'm using these presidents and kings and queens for modern terms. But all of those words that I just used are describing the same thing, which is a monarch, the ruler of a land. Okay? It says, but remained in use to as late as the Roman Empire. Okay, so now I'm going to read the Horus name. So what the Horus name is, the Heru, we would prefer to call it the Heru name, is the first name that was used to represent African royalty or the monarch. It says the Horus name is the oldest form of Pharaoh's name, originating in pre-dynastic Egypt, meaning in southern Africa, meaning Nubia, with modern day Sudan today, and even further down into Kenya, Tanzania, and so forth. Many of the oldest known Egyptian pharaohs were known only by this title. So they were only known by their Horus name. The Horus name was usually written in a Syriac. I don't know how to pronounce this. So I'll excuse me for butchering it. A representation of a palace facade. The name of the pharaoh was written in hieroglyph, which we call the Metu Neter. Inside this representation of the palace, typically an image of the falcon god Heru was perched on top or on the inside it. At least one Egyptian ruler in the second dynasty, Pharaoh Seth, whatever his name is, Persepsis, excuse me, ancestor, used an image of the god Set instead of Horus, which is Heru, perhaps signifying an internal religious division within the country. He was succeeded by excuse me, ancestor, was placed because it's disrespectful not to pronounce ancestor's name. So that's why I'm saying excuse me, because I cannot pronounce these names. So who placed the symbols of both Set and Horus above his name. Thereafter, the image of Horus always appeared alongside the name of the pharaoh. By the time of the New Kingdom, the Horus name was often written without the enclosed Syriac. So this is just me showing that this was the first representation of African royalty that is documented. And this was the first name that they used, and this is the image that they used to represent that they were the pharaoh or the king or the monarch of the land. So when by placing our original Heru Falcon inside of our flag, we're actually taking back the history that was hidden when they erased our memory during our enslavement. So that's what I was able to put together. And it's the first time that the Heru Falcon has ever been placed on the original Falcon has been placed on a flag. And I think that it's my ancestral place that I will someday be placed in our books of Pan-African history for my significant contribution to trying to reawaken our people and put us on a unified historical history. We need to have our history in one unison. So that's all that I really want to share about this. I think I may be able to stop this. I had another one slide here, but I think I pretty much covered that, and I do not want to be lengthy. So let me close this out. I hope that was enough. You guys can actually go over to my page and follow me at panafricandesigns.com. Sometimes when we have a group page over there that you guys could actually join, where sometimes I share information like this, so we could be on, so we could actually learn our history in the correct fashion. And let me go ahead and close this out. So stop sharing my screen, and I'm back. So now, that's the reason why I named it Pan-African Designs, because unlike FUBU, I think that they did a great thing for the time that they were in, but I think that it's no longer time for us to hide what we know as Pan-Africans, or it's time for us to unify as up under one historical accord. So by us starting to use our ancient images, as I think the ancestors left them there for us to use, for us to remember and to get on one accord. Right now, we're dealing with historical confusion. We have some people that want to start their history in 1 AD. We have some people that want to start their history in 711 AD. I mean, you got some people that want to start their history in 600 AD. You have some people that want to start their history at the beginning. I think as Africans, we need to choose to do it in chronological order. I also want to make a very clear note that the only thing that us as Africans are fighting over is actual written history. None of the history that we are fighting over is verbal. We're fighting over what was written. And if we're going to fight over what was written, we have to start at what was written first and then move outward as a people. I mean, to demonize the fact that Africans were the first to create a written history is kind of anti-Pan-African. And when you read, and I just read what Pan-Africanism is. So it's nothing bad about Pan-Africanism. It's about unity. It's about oneness as a people. And it's about listening to us, to one another, respectfully. And as Brother Malim was saying, we have to be able to start speaking frank and start addressing real issues as a people. So this is my contribution. I think that I thought that it was one at the time, it was an ancestral gift for me to be able to even bring this type of information to our people via imagery. And so that's what I'd like to say about this particular topic. I'm going to close out now, and then I'll come back in with another topic and another title. So peace, and I hope that this gives clarity to that. Support Pan-African Designs. You can go to follow us on Instagram at panafricandesigns.com. Follow us on Facebook at panafricandesigns.com. Subscribe to the Pan-African Designs page. Join the groups that we have, and support as far as like we don't ask for any donations. Only thing we ask is for support of a tangible product. And with enough support from the tangible products, we'll be able to start doing Pan-African things. And I would like to kind of speak on that. Like, what I mean by Pan-African things is start to address some of the political things that need to be addressed. So we need money from a political standpoint. We're going to need money from an economic standpoint to start trying to fight not only the clothing industry that we have been taking advantage of throughout the years from the major brands that don't look out for our particular interests. Pan-African Designs is a brand named to solve issues within our community through reinvestment in the communities where we are prominent and dominate at. So it's an agenda-based brand. It's a historical-based brand, and it's a brand that's good for our people that we can use and we can wear something with pride. And the standard of the brand, I mean, we're trying to be on the same standards of today. Not saying that we're trying to follow Europeans, because Europeans have actually taken a lot of our technology and knowledge as far as even clothing, fabrics, and so forth are concerned, and used it for their own benefit. We need to hook up with brothers on the continent to try to balance the trade that we have going on, so we can get our products out to the continent, and where we have a flux of people that really that need to not only the information but need to be able to represent the history and represent the I mean, I could just imagine us discarding all of the European brands and representing Pan-African Designs and representing our royal state, and that they aware of the really people that know about it here, they know what this is. They know what we have going on. And that's another video in itself, because I would definitely have to talk about how I have to fight to get the proper products of the standard that I'm trying to get this brand into. I mean, I see stuff that like the Nikes of the world are doing, Adidas or Puma, and I reach out to the people, the manufacturer that they use, and then I have a very difficult time trying to get the products done in the right fashion. They try to overcharge me. It's a runaround. So, I mean, I really am fighting for us on the brand side. So, the only thing I'm looking for is really just support. No GoFundMes will be put up by the brand, because we have pride as a people. And I want to mention that we definitely have a 100% delivery rate. Someday we hope to be able to be brick and mortar, if that's going to be something that's economically feasible and something that that's in demand. But right now we're just an internet-based business, home-based as a matter of fact, and we're looking to expand to be able to employ our people one day. So with that said, let me get up out of here, family, and then I'll get back with y'all on another topic right after this. Peace.